Saudi Arabia has been hit by massive flash floods. A night of continuous torrential rainfall has flooded streets in Mecca. Frightening videos are emerging of cars being swept away. Many main roads have been closed since then, and there are multiple weather warnings in place.
Kaaba in Mecca is underwater. Catastrophic floods devastated Saudi Arabia. Divine judgment. The Kaaba in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, holds immense significance in the Islamic faith, being a cube-shaped structure at the heart of the Great Mosque. Muslims worldwide direct their prayers toward it daily. Unfortunately, recent catastrophic floods have struck Mecca, prompting questions about whether these natural disasters are seen as a form of divine judgment. The floods in Mecca have been particularly devastating, causing severe damage to the city and its surroundings. In 2023, recorded footage showed heavy rains hitting the Mecca province, resulting in flooding overnight. Pilgrims engaging in the tawaf were caught in storms, with lightning striking an iconic tower in Mecca. These floods have inflicted considerable harm on the city, including the sacred Kaaba. While some may interpret these floods as a divine judgment, it's crucial to remember that natural disasters can happen for various reasons, such as climate change and weather patterns. Cities in desert regions, like Mecca, can experience flash floods. The large crowds during the annual Hajj pilgrimage strain Mecca's infrastructure, making it more prone to flooding and other disasters. Although the damage from these floods is devastating, it's important to approach the situation calmly and consider all possible explanations before concluding it is divine judgment. The recent catastrophic floods in Saudi Arabia have drawn attention to the historical significance of the Kaaba in Mecca, Islam's holiest site. The question arises, was this a natural disaster or divine judgment? The storms and rain damaged the holy site, including flooding around the Kaaba. While natural disasters have occurred throughout history, understanding the importance of the Kaaba in Islamic tradition is crucial, considering the potential impact of its destruction. The Kaaba has been central to Islamic tradition for centuries, believed to have been built by Prophet Ibrahim and his son Ismail for worshipping one God. The pre-Islamic Kaaba housed the Black Stone, now embedded in its eastern corner. The Quraysh tribe rebuilt it in 608 CE. The Kaaba has been the focus of Islamic pilgrimage for centuries, with millions traveling to Mecca annually for the Hajj. The significance of the Kaaba in Islamic pilgrimage is immense. Muslims worldwide direct their prayers toward it 5 times a day, symbolizing the metaphorical house of God and the oneness of God. The potential destruction of the Kaaba would be a major loss for the global Islamic community. It is not just a symbol of faith, but also a reminder of Islam's historical importance. Recent floods in Mecca have damaged the holy site, emphasizing its importance in Islamic tradition and the potential consequences of its destruction. The cause of the floods is still uncertain, but it highlights the significancе of the Kaaba in Islam. The recent floods in Saudi Arabia have drawn attention to the significance of the Kaaba in Mecca. This sacred site is considered the holiest place for Muslims worldwide. The floods have sparked questions about whether this natural disaster is a form of divine judgment, given historical references to the Kaaba's destruction in the flood of Noah. However, it's important to recognize that climate change is likely a significant factor in these floods, and Saudi Arabia faces various natural hazards, including floods, storms, and drought. The catastrophic floods in Saudi Arabia are linked to climate change, impacting extreme weather events. The Middle East, including Saudi Arabia, is experiencing the effects of climate change, leading to challenges like extreme temperatures and water scarcity. The floods serve as a stark reminder of the urgent need to address climate change to prevent future disasters. It is crucial to take immediate action by reducing carbon emissions and adopting sustainable practices. These floods have caused extensive damage to infrastructure, including the iconic tower in Mecca, and have affected the Kaaba. While natural disasters contribute to the situation, poor infrastructure and urban planning worsen the impact. The floods highlight the necessity of proper planning and preparedness to mitigate the effects of such disasters. Human activities like inadequate waste management and low-risk perception also play a role in exacerbating the impact of natural disasters. The damage to the Kaaba emphasizes the need for better infrastructure and urban planning to prevent and mitigate natural disasters. Poor housing quality in the area adds to the vulnerability of the population. While some may see the floods as divine judgment, it's crucial to acknowledge the role of human activities and inadequate planning in worsening the situation. Given Saudi Arabia's vulnerability to various natural hazards, prioritizing preparedness and planning is essential to minimizing the impact on both the population and Islam's holiest sites. The recent severe floods in Saudi Arabia have caused significant damage to the Kaaba in Mecca, the holiest shrine in Islam. This has prompted questions about whether divine judgment plays a role in natural disasters and how it affects Islamic pilgrimage and tourism. The Kaaba is a crucial part of the Hajj pilgrimage, and it is mandatory for all able-bodied Muslims to perform it at least once. The floods disrupted this pilgrimage, leading to the closure of many holy sites and causing substantial economic losses for Saudi Arabia and the tourism industry. This raises the question of whether these events are a divine punishment or simply a natural disaster. In response to the flooding, the Saudi government and the international community have provided relief efforts and support for those affected. However, religious leaders and scholars have offered varied interpretations, with some seeing it as a sign of divine judgment. This interpretation raises questions about God's role in natural disasters and whether they serve as punishment. It also underscores the importance of religious interpretation in shaping how individuals and communities respond to such disasters. The debate over divine judgment in natural disasters is not new and has existed in religious communities for centuries. While some traditions view natural disasters as divine punishment for human sin, others argue that they result from natural processes without God's direct intervention. Regardless of interpretation, events like the recent floods in Saudi Arabia can profoundly impact individuals, communities, and entire nations. Considering the role of religion in responding to such events is crucial, as is recognizing the complex nature of natural disasters and their effects on our world. The recent catastrophic floods in Saudi Arabia, particularly the flooding of the Kaaba in Mecca, have prompted questions about the role of faith in understanding such events. The Kaaba holds immense significance for Muslims as the holiest shrine in Islam, and some interpret the floods as a sign of divine judgment or punishment. This raises a challenging question. How do we reconcile the idea of a loving and merciful God with the occurrence of natural disasters? While some view the floods as a form of divine punishment, others propose alternative explanations. Factors like climate change and human activity have been linked to an increased frequency and severity of natural disasters, including flooding. Additionally, poor infrastructure and insufficient disaster preparedness can worsen the impact of such events, resulting in greater loss of life and property damage. Examining the root causes of these disasters allows us to identify areas for improvement and take steps to mitigate their impact in the future. One valuable lesson from the floods in Saudi Arabia is the importance of disaster preparedness and response. Investing in infrastructure, early warning systems, and emergency response teams can minimize the impact of natural disasters and save lives. Addressing the root causes of climatite change and environmental issues can prevent such disasters from occurring in the first place. Proactive measures to tackle these challenges contribute to building more resilient communities and protecting sacred sites like the Kaaba in Mecca. Ultimately, the lessons learned from devastating floods can deepen our understanding of the intricate connections between faith, nature, and human action, guiding us toward a more just and sustainable future. The role of faith communities in responding to natural disasters is crucial. In the case of the floods in Saudi Arabia, the Kaaba is not merely a religious symbol, but also a vital cultural and historical landmark. Faith communities can play a powerful role in providing support and assistance to those affected, contributing to the rebuilding and restoration of devastated communities. Climate change is globally linked to an increase in natural disasters. The question of whether this is divine judgment remains uncertain, but what is clear is the necessity for preparedness and resilience in the face of such events. Climate change's impact on vulnerable communities is undeniable. Saudi Arabia's coastal settlements, infrastructure, and ecosystems face the threat of rising sea levels and coastal erosion. Similarly, coastal communities in the southeastern United States are already grappling with sea level rise and seawater flooding. The Middle East has been dealing with the consequences of climate change for centuries, including floods, droughts, and extreme temperatures. It's crucial to understand that climate change affects the entire world and demands global cooperation and action. The urgency of international cooperation to address climate change cannot be overstated. The potential catastrophic impacts of sea level rise on infrastructure, economies, and societies necessitate prioritizing sustainability, preparedness, and compassion in the face of natural disasters. This involves investing in infrastructure and technology to mitigate climate change effects, promoting sustainable practices, and supporting vulnerable communities. Ultimately, the floods in Saudi Arabia serve as a reminder of the critical need to take action on climate change, not only for our present well-being, but also for the well-being of future generations. In conclusion, the catastrophic floods that devastated Saudi Arabia and submerged the Kaaba in Mecca have sparked a debate over whether it was divine judgment or a natural disaster. Regardless of the answer, the floods serve as a reminder of the importance of preparedness, sustainability, and compassion in the face of natural disasters. The impact of climate change on vulnerable communities and the increasing frequency and severity of natural disasters worldwide highlight the need for international cooperation and action to address climate change. As we reflect on the lessons learned from this tragedy, we must prioritize sustainable urban planning and infrastructure, disaster preparedness, and the role of faith communities in responding to natural disasters. Ultimately, the floods in Saudi Arabia serve as a call to action for all of us to work together to protect our planet and its inhabitants. The place which is truly known as the holiest place for Muslims due to such consequences, it's become difficult to visit. What are your views? Let us know in the comment section below. Hope you like the video, then do share it and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the bell icon for more such videos. Thanks for watching.